Let's talk some top Texas 2027 football recruits.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. If you need one now, there's a grocery store or convenience store near you to stock you up. Today, we're going to talk some Texas recruiting, class of 27. It's another loaded group. Some of these juniors, these kids are getting out, taking visits, going to camps, Under Armour camps. And to get a little bit of insight on all of it, my guy Marc Henry works for Rivals, Prep Red Zone. He's been all over the place, Dallas area guy. Mr. Marc Henry, how you doing today, sir?
B, how's it going, man? Appreciate you having me, man. Let's get to it.
Let's do it, man. This first kid that I want to talk about is somebody that you told me I'd seen before, but this one, he was like a freshman in high school a couple of years ago. So, you know, that's a little different. Kids change their bodies a lot in 2 years when they're teenagers. Zane Rowe, he's from Guyer High School, just north of Dallas and Denton. What's the backdrop on him, and why do you think everybody's after this young man?
Zane's one of those guys that'll compete in the parking lot if you had it that way.
Right,
6'5", about 240. Yes, I mean he's a competitor. That's the thing that I've learned most about Zane is his competitive drive, and he'll compete with anybody. Met him as a 7th, 8th grader, and he's blossomed into a 5-star recruit and a national recruit. Just recently took a visit to Georgia. He's been at SMU. Name it, he's got it. Texas. He was committed to Oklahoma as a freshman, decommitted not too long ago. But the length, the explosive get off, the violent hands from the edge position is the things that make him special. And his closing speed to the ball carrier or the quarterback. He has that motor. He doesn't quit. He plays through the whistle. And then Brian, he can also jump on the offensive side and be a top flight tight end with his large catch radius. He runs great routes. He recently played in the OT7 last week, as well as been playing a little 7-on-7. So you get a chance to see that as well. I was at the Under Armour camp in Dallas a few weeks ago. He took some reps at tight end. But where he really, really is special is at the edge position, off the edge. He just has that it factor, and he also punched his ticket to the Under Armour All-American game, so he'll be playing in that as well. He's that guy that's going to take you to the next level with his athleticism and his ability to really, really get off of blocks. And I look for that 2027 class at Guyer, led by Rowe, to make a championship run before they leave in the next 2 years.
Well, you said a mouthful there. Guyer's a prominent program. They've got kids, Oklahoma, Texas, all over the place, depending on the year. They got somebody at a major P4 that's a contributor. And you're also talking about a guy that, when you said wants to compete in a parking lot, if you're going to play edge in the Big 10, the Big 12, ACC, or SEC, you got to have that mentality. You're not going to get it done like you got Texas hat on. Like, they're not going to take guys that ain't real competitive there at UT. This kid's offer list is already through the roof, and by the time he graduates high school, he'll have 50 offers.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the complete package when it comes to an edge rusher, with the length, just the ability to bend as well. And then that, like we said, like that competitive nature, you have to have that when you go into these environments. He's the kind of guy you want to take with you in an alley fight, and you know you're going to win.
Well, that's important. He'll probably challenge for the top player in the state. Everybody's got their own opinion on rankings, but as we both know, premium position, pass rusher. You just, colleges and pro teams, look at the Eagles.
Absolutely.
You ain't got them, it's probably going to hurt you. Next up is a guy that you and I both know, and like the definition of shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Mark, if I tell you a high school kid going into his senior year has got a 10.61 100-meter, you're like, okay, that kid's moving. Now, what if I tell you that kid's an 8th grader and got a 10, like, this young man ran 10.61 in 8th grade.
Absolutely.
I want everybody to just let that sink in. Like, he wasn't even close to being able to drive a car, and he ran 10.61 100 meters. We're talking about Landen Williams-Callis. He's out of Randle High School down there in the Houston area, and like he ran for 1,900 yards plus as a freshman. He's
Right.
over 4,000 yards in his first 2 years around and got a state title.
Right.
Tell everybody about this young man's game.
Well, the first thing you want to know about this guy is he's built like a tank. Stout build, broad shoulders. The trunk is there as far as his lower half. An explosive guy that has a great jump cut. And when he gets to the second level, it's nice out. You mentioned, as a freshman coming in as an eighth grader, he was one of the best in the country then. Ran for over 2,000 yards, 289 yards receiving. I think that's what makes him special as well, is he can catch out of the backfield. As far as the way he looks and appears, you see him, you know that this guy's a running back. He's got that stout build, those shoulders that can take the punishment. He's a four-star recruit, number 15 in the state, and number 2 running back ranked on Rivals.com. Just the complete package, Brian. We talked about this when you were in the Houston area. When you came in, Coach Randle had a chance to visit with him down at Randall High School when he first got the job. And he was one of those pillars that he mentioned. He said, we got a guy that's coming in the 8th grade. Mark, you want to see him now. I knew about this guy from the Little League ranks. He's been one of those guys in the state of Texas. He's been special, and that's why they call him Black Jesus. That's his nickname. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's great.
He walks on water, is what they say. You know what I mean? It's one of those special talents that you have to see in person. I did have a chance to see those guys make the run to state. Saw them against Sock this year, and they won it and punched their ticket when undefeated. And Williams-Callis was the guy offensively that kind of led them and was the big guy to take the top off when it comes to the running game. Shifty in space. He's got the build to take punishment, but the thing about him is the next level speed. You don't catch this guy from behind. When he gets in the second level, it's lights out. It's a house call, if you will.
Yeah, I watched him in 8th grade, and I remember I went to one of his 8th grade games. Of course, Texas, everybody's excited. They want to see their kids play. And I'm sure most people at that point really didn't know, as far as parents go, didn't know who he was. Mark, he jumped off in the first half for 5 touchdowns. The stands on the other side were so quiet, you didn't know that there was a game going on. They looked like they'd seen a ghost.
Right.
Because, he was the best player on the field by a mile. And he didn't play second half.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's the reason this guy is pushing 40, 50 offers. And he's a humble guy as well. Great interview, very confident. But it's like he's been groomed for this. It's like, Voltron or the Power Rangers. You kind of piece together, you mold the perfect running back. This is that perfect mold when you come to the running back position. Swiss Army knife with the ability to catch the ball out of backfield, which makes him special. And then when in between the tackles, you're just not going to arm tackle this guy. Runs with a great low center of gravity. Those are all the things you're looking for in a next level running back.
Yeah, he's elite. There's no question about it. And he's a guy that I think had started a major program as a freshman. There aren't many like that, but his mentality, different. So it's not
Absolutely.
just the God-given traits that you just talked about. And by the way, that's a great job, but you don't have the right mentality with it, like Texas, USC, Florida State, wherever you want to. That's not going to work. I think that young Mr. Callis he's going to kill it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, next up, I want to shift to a bigger guy, somebody closer to your neck of the woods, plays at SOC, Dallas South Oak Cliff. Of course, that's a program that's really been fantastic for a number of years. So first off, shout out to all the guys at SOC. They do a really good job. But Brian Swanson, offensive lineman, as you know, look at what Texas has tried to do under Sark. Oklahoma's trying to build back their offensive line. Like, if you're not good with the big guys up front, guys like Williams-Callis, et cetera, they ain't got a chance to go off. You got to get them past the line.
Absolutely.
And this kid is already racking up the offers. Swanson's 6'5", 280, 290. He's only going to be a junior in the fall, already racking up offers. Why is he such a coveted prospect?
Well, the first thing you notice, he passes the eye test, of course. He's got the reach that you want for the premier offensive tackle. But the thing about Swanson, I had a chance to see him as a freshman as well. And this is the second year in a row when he was playing that SOC made a run to the state title. They've been there 4 times, and they won 2 and lost 2. The recent one was to Randle. But this guy has a nastiness about his game that you want in an offensive lineman. Very rugged in the running game. He's a road grader. He really gets hands on these guys, and he's very physical and at the point of attack. just that nastiness that you want as an offensive tackle. You're going to know that Swanson's blocking somebody. He really gets to the second level with ease, and I just love that about his game. The number 18 ranked player in the state of Texas and the number 9 nationally rated offensive tackle that you'll find at Rivals.com. But this is a guy that's nimble and agile, Brian, that can get it done. And there's a reason that he's got all these offers and all of these schools after him, because he fits the mold of your offensive tackle. Skinny ankles, really a guy that has a stiff punch. Those are the things that you want to see in an offensive tackle. And he's going to make his bread. He's going to make his money at the next level as an offensive tackle.
Which spot do you think he's better suited to, playing the blind side, or is he just a natural power guy that is better suited to play on the right side?
I think he can play both. It just depends on where where they want him to play at. Right now, he's playing the blind side. He's playing the left tackle. He's the starter there. He started for 2 years as well. He can play both, but I think he'll eventually settle at that left tackle position for sure.
When we come back, we got more recruiting updates here from the state of Texas. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track your accounts, investments, spending, all in one place, so you can stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. It's also easy to collaborate with your significant other. Put everything under one roof in this app. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever with Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off of your first year. This is also brought to you by Game Time. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing the unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a game in person. Getting tickets shouldn't be stressful to do that. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute tickets to unbeatable games. For instance, Game Time Picks. It's curation that makes it easier for you because they sorted out all the best deals and put them in one place right there on the app, so you have better value to anything you want to go to. Basketball game, concert, comedy, theater, whatever you want to do, plus peace of mind. You can see the seat right from your phone with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Mark, we still got a couple of really good players to talk about, and one of them is a guy that can go get it. Mr. Trenton Yancey, another program that I know you are very familiar with. We like to call it Dunk, and that's short for Duncanville, one of the best programs, not only Dallas or the state of Texas, but honestly, in the nation. So Absolutely. Shout out to Dunk. They're always a program that's going to be competing for titles. Tell everybody about Mr. Yancey.
Well, the first thing you got to know about Yancey is his ability to be a superb route runner. He knows how to set DBs up, right off the line. He gets in and out of his breaks quickly. He has the speed to stretch the field, strong, reliable hands, and he's going to go get it. Very feisty in press coverage. You're not going to get hands on him, very easily. He's strong. We're talking about a guy that's about 6 foot, 175 pounds. 4-star prospect, number 2 prospect in Texas, and the number 2 wide receiver at his position, according to Rivals.com. This is one of those guys, Brian, that you have to see in person. He really came on this year. Of course, DeCorian Moore was the guy over there this year, the Oregon signee. You also have Antayvious and Zachary Turner. They're loaded again this year. And he's going to be one of those guys that's going to get, 5 to 10 balls a game. He just has that electricity in his game. He's gonna get you a touchdown. And the thing about Trent is he's very, very, very humble off the field, but when he puts that helmet on, that dog comes out, and he's that guy that'll go get that ball for you.
When you play at Dunk as an early guy, somebody that's a freshman or sophomore,
right?
Well, it's a little different,
right?
So I'm going to go out on a limb and guess. I mean, I don't know him. You do.
Yeah.
He's got to be a little more mature than most kids his age because it's a long season at Dunk. The way they train, I'm sure you've seen some of those training. That is an NFL training kind of deal. And some of these kids ain't old enough to go drive a car yet.
Absolutely.
So do you think that's a big reason why, whether it's Yancey or somebody else at Dunk, that, okay, this is why they're stepping forward and getting all these offers?
I'll tell you this. Duncanville's offseason program is very old school. It's one of those, where they turn off the AC and everybody's sweating as soon as they walk in. They prepare these guys for a 16-game season. They want to play deep in the playoffs, and they have state championship or bust on their minds. The only team to beat them this year was the eventual state champions in North Crowley. So if that tells you anything, it's an upper echelon program. Coach Reginald Samples is a Hall of Famer, and he gets Hall of Fame type play out of his program. These guys don't mess around in the offseason. You can best believe that these guys are also on the track. Go and look up the records. They set a record last year in the 4x1. And this year they're on track to make state as a 4x1, 4x2, and a track club. Those guys that we mentioned are on the track team as well. So it's an overall championship mentality when it comes to Duncanville and the way they compete at all levels. The basketball team won state in the state of Texas this year as well. So when you walk into it, it's a championship mentality through all sports and even in academics over there. It's championship or bust over there. So Trenton Yancey just fits into the mold of what you have at Duncanville.
That's awesome when you don't just worry about football. I love it when a school, Dunk obviously in football is incredible.
Absolutely.
But they're trying to give all their young men and women a chance. Like if you win in the hoops and everything else,
state championship competition at every level in all of those sports over there. When you come in with that, there's a reason that. But really, Brian, I'll tell you this: you can go to a Duncanville middle school game and see the guys that are going to be coming up on Friday nights. That's the way it's built over there. It goes down to the middle school. It's a program. You can look at the South Oak Cliffs. You look at the DeSotos. You look at the South Lake Carrolls, the Alitos, the North Crowleys. The pedigree starts in the middle school ranks with these guys. It's been documented. You can go to a middle school game and see a future Friday night star.
That says really all you need to know when you got kids that are standing out at that level. That they're putting their kids in the right spot. Next up is a kid that, quite honestly, doesn't really need a whole lot of introduction if you follow the Dallas area at all. From Crowley, Tay Ellis, Antayvious Ellis technically, but Tay Ellis, another guy that can go get it. Why in the world haven't everybody offered the kid? Like his film's legit. Like I've seen it. I don't understand anybody that hasn't offered him yet. Tell everybody about this young receiver's game.
Listen, when you talk about a guy that's super competitive, he's another one of those guys that are competing in the parking lot, but he has the skill set to back it up. He's a 2-year starter over at Crowley. He is a top receiver in the country, not just in the state of Texas. The large catch radius, the strong hands, the ability to fight through traffic. He runs the route tree, every route that you want to see. He doesn't shy away from contact in the middle of the field. You're not going to press this guy because he's so strong at the point of attack. But the ability to go up and stretch and get the football out of the air, high point, the 50-50 ball, all of those things, all of these traits make Tay Ellis a special guy. He's the number 13 player in the state of Texas, also the number 4 in the country, according to Rivals.com. He's a 4-star recruit. This guy is next level, and he has everything, the complete package that you want to see from the receiver position. And he blocks, too, as well.
This is a good way to figure out if a receiver is good. Here are a couple of his offers, Mark. Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, Southern Cal, Tennessee, Texas A&M. Look, especially when a receiver gets an offer early from Ohio State, that will catch my attention. And absolutely. I'm sure it does yours as well.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
He's got 2 years of high school left, and he's sitting with those among Baylor and a whole bunch of Oklahoma and a whole bunch of others. But that's a kid. If you ain't offered him yet, you're probably behind the 8 ball. You need to get in on that pretty quick. Right. Next up is a kid that will switch to defense, and we're at SOC. We're talking about them again. Dallas South Oak Cliff, JD or Jaderian Jones. This is a defensive lineman. His name's starting to blow up. He got an offer from Notre Dame the other day, and his offer list, like some of these other kids, he's huge. Why do you like his game, and why do you think that SOC always seems to develop these kids? Like Tech's full of big uns.
Right.
This kid can move.
Absolutely.
What changes with him? Why is he so different?
Well, you talk about the hip dexterity in a guy that's 300 pounds. When you see this guy bend and explode off the ball, those are the things that catch your eye. We're talking about 6'2", 300, nimble, agile, a guy that can get north and south real quick. He runs from sideline to sideline and closes on the ball carrier with good speed. And when he gets there, he's bringing something. He's bringing that weight behind it. You're going to feel it. You've been in the trenches and you feel that when somebody hits somebody, and that's what you get out of this guy. A highly competitive guy, violent hands, and he's a guy that's the reason that Notre Dame's. You have to have these guys to play in the national championship. You have to have these guys that can play 2 or 3 technique, or in a 3-4, he can line up on the nose and shade the center on either side, and just get after it. He's one of those space eaters that's agile and that can push the pocket as well. He's stout in the run game. Those are all the things that make him special.
Yeah, Sock always has somebody up front, but he got all those. Again, he's got 2 years of high school and he's 3. Can you imagine what this young man's going to look like by the time he leaves Sock? Because that's another program. You're going to put in work in the offseason. They ain't playing no games.
Absolutely. Shout out to Coach Todd and his whole staff. I mean, if you're asking me, one of my favorite staffs in the state of Texas is South Oak Cliff. Had a chance to get pretty close to those guys in 10 games over their run the last 4-5 years, really going back probably until Coach Todd's second or third year. So I've been covering South Oak Cliff for a long time. There's a pedigree and a standard that these guys set. And, you can go to anywhere in the state of Texas and find great programs. But when you have these guys, the continuity of the coaching staff, that's one thing that I look at, when I'm at a game. I watch, I'm privy to seeing all of these things, and, I'm pretty observant. And when you see the continuity that the coaching staffs and some of these programs, how they work in the middle of a game, make corrections, in the second half of things. When they get down, they don't lose sight of what the goal is. This is what you get out of South Oak Cliff. And it's not just, it starts at the top, but you got all of these guys that work well together. Coach Dominic Spencer, Coach Zach Collins, the DC, Coach Ward. Great staff. I mean, Brian, you'd be impressed when you get a chance to see these guys work on a yearly basis.
Well, it certainly is an impressive program. And having him for 2 more years, I'm not a D-line coach, but I imagine I could do pretty good having him because, again, this is a national recruited DT that's already got the size to play at the collegiate level. When we come back, we're going to hit up on one more guy. We're going to ask Mark a really important question about why you need to recruit the state of Texas. That is next here on the Portal Podcast. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep like I am, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means a lot more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little extra boost to power through your day. Whether you're staying up late for watching the NCAA tournament like me, squeezing in a round of golf, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Like I said, the basketball tournament going on right now, it's great. Some awesome games going on. Make sure you check them out. But if you need that extra boost, 5-Hour Energy can help you. And it's convenient because you can pick them up at your local convenience store or wherever you need to get them. So head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from: watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango, and many more. So don't worry about waiting. You can get them online. And again, if you go through your grocery store, you can pick one up. So if you need one now, grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery and make sure you stock up today and stay energized with 5-Hour Energy. Mark, I don't know what's going on over in the water at Crowley in that area, but they got some guys that can run. North Crowley just won state. Crowley High School's got a guy, Jerry Outhouse Jr., corner that's a big time player. North Crowley, where did that come from? First off, before you talk about did anybody think they were going to beat the teams they did to make that run? And how does that happen so quick? Because I didn't know much about that school. I'll be first one to admit that.
Right. Well, I actually picked them. The big game this year. They first of all, they played in several big games. They started out the season playing Lancaster.
Okay.
They played DeSoto. They also played Duncanville, and then they finished it off with Austin Westlake. They also played a very good Capel team that had a Baylor commit in Griffin at quarterback.
Okay.
So This is a team that was battle tested. You have to, again, this is one of those coaching staffs. It's one of my favorites as well. And Coach Ray Gates is the leader of that team. Um, but you mentioned Jerry Outhouse Jr. Junior, he has all of the traits and the makeup of a shutdown corner. He's versatile. He can come down and play nickel. He can play safety. He's just a Swiss Army knife. He's one of those plug and play type defensive backs that can get it done. Long, lean, athletic guy. Getting to be about 6'2". But he had 44 tackles, 6 interceptions, and a pick six. 6 interceptions tells you the ball skills are there. You don't want to put the ball in the wrong place. This guy's going to take it. You don't hear those type of numbers when it comes to interceptions at the high school level very often. 6 interceptions tells me that this guy's instincts are there. And when you turn on the tape, you see it. When he gets the football in his hands, he's a threat to take it back to the house. But Jerry Outhouse Jr. is one of the fastest rising recruits in the state of Texas and in the 2027 class. So you got to get eyes on this guy. And when he shuts down a part of the field, he does it. But I love his versatility to play all the positions in the secondary. And, he comes up and lays the wood as a tackler in the open field from the cornerback position.
Does he run track? I imagine
he runs track, long jump, everything.
There it is. The Texas kids, man, they don't play around in spring and take time off. They're getting after it, try to build their speed and stamina. So
Absolutely.
that's really important. Now, to the point that I made right before break, I said I'm going to ask Mark about why people need to recruit Texas, and what I just said is also a part of that. Is it just me, or do the Texas kids just kind of look at athletics, forget football for a second, a little differently, because they just stay active? Like
Right.
when I was a kid and you were a kid, if it was baseball season, we were out hitting the baseball.
Right.
If it was soccer, if it was basketball, whatever, we were doing something. In Texas, I think there's a little bit more of that mentality. And football's still king.
Right.
But explain to people why these kids stay so active.
Well, I think one contributing factor, and I think you can go about this in the South, is the weather year round allows for you to. It helps for you to get out and train more, and get out and be active. I would say that sets it apart. And would also say, we talked about this a few shows ago. I was on a couple of weeks. The access to elite level training outside of the high school is one thing, especially in the Dallas area, Houston as well. Probably down in Austin, San Antonio, you have the access to get to specific training. I'll even throw East Texas in that as well. I know some guys that train out there in East Texas. But the ability to specialize in position-specific training in the offseason, I think, sets guys apart. You look at some of the elite level, top-level guys, you take the Zane Rowes, you take the Trenton Yanceys, they got some high-level training outside of what they do in the offseason, outside of their schools. That's the thing that sets these guys apart. And the class that we're discussing, Brian, is probably the best class top to bottom that I've seen in a long time. The 2027, and I said this when these guys were in 7th, 8th grade, and 9th grade, because you could see it building. From the top to the bottom, you can go and plug in any position in the state of Texas in the 2027 class, and you're going to find several, not just one, several Power Four type players in each position. So it's one of those things where this is probably the best class that I've seen in a long time. I think 28 starting to build that, and then 29 coming. But 27 is a deep class at every position that you're going to find in the state of Texas.
It's amazing to me because, there are 4 cities that I think are different than anywhere else in the country for football as far as depth, from position to position being balanced. LA, Atlanta, Dallas, and the Miami areas, they're the deepest. But you could argue that Dallas is the best, not only just with football, but just all around in the United States.
Right.
And Houston's not that far off from that either. It'd be top 10 somewhere, to probably top 8.
Absolutely. Well, I'll mention this because I am a Houstonian by heart. And
that's right. That's right. You are.
Right. So for me to say this, I can say this because I cover both areas pretty heavy. But right now, Dallas, the DFW area is carrying a mantra when it comes to athletics in the state of Texas.
100%.
All you got to do is look at the state titles in any sport. And it's usually neck and neck. Houston was at the top for a while. And when you go back to the Demetrius Davis days and Zach and all of those guys from North Shore, when you had the Hail Mary and things like that, Houston was dominant for a while. You had Katy as well that had a pretty good run. But Dallas has kind of taken it the last, I would say, 7 to 8 years. I've been in this, high school media for about 10 years. and it's been kind of 50-50, but Dallas has kind of taken it and run away with it the last few years. And we can talk track, we can talk basketball, we can talk baseball. I mean, the DFW area right now is a hub to whatever sport you want to get, even volleyball. So, it's an area where, if I'm a recruiting coordinator or I'm a coach, I would set up an Airbnb and especially in that southern sector, and just go in there and recruit and build my team. You can do that here in the state of Texas. And that's the reason these guys are so heavily recruited.
It's truly amazing, Mark. And you're amazing too for knowing so many kids. Every time I send you a list, I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to catch Mark with somebody he doesn't know. And I've never done it yet. I'm over. So you get around, man. You get around. I appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find your work, Mr. Mark.
Man, listen, man. First of all, appreciate you having me on Locked On, man. Look forward to, I'm just a phone call away. You can follow me on Twitter at MarcHen44. You can follow onthemarksports.com as well. I mean, some of my work is a little bit of everywhere. SMU Rivals, we got a big pro day coming up at SMU Monday, so I'll be over there watching some future pros. You can follow me at homesports.com as well. The platform, we got a big shout out to my guy Jonathan Mumphrey and everybody. They'll be up in St. Louis this weekend with a big tournament, 707, and we'll come back to the DFW area next week. So, I'm in the middle of 707 with the platform.dr.com. You can check out that as well. So, I'm pretty much all over the place. You can catch the On Your Mark show every week from 11 to 12 Central Wednesday, and follow the On Your Mark show YouTube channel as well.
Man, that's a mouthful. You get after it. So your resume is pretty long. You can find us everywhere on the platforms that you want to get your downloads here for the Portal Podcast: Odyssey, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We will see you again soon. Everybody have a good one. Thank you.